Welcome to this brand new edition of the Bleav in Lions podcast. I am new co-host Trevor Thompson alongside the man who's been getting it done for a long time now on and off the field, Glover Quin. Appreciate you joining me. Appreciate being a part of this with you. I was telling you I'm so excited about this opportunity to join you on this. I last covered the Lions in the early 2000s. Marty Morningweg was a coach back there. Steve Mariucci, Rod Marinelli, of course, that famous 0-16 season. I was a part of that as well. That was a tough cover, got to tell you, Glover. And here we are now, all these years later, with Dan Campbell at the helm, and these guys ripping off a 15-2 season last year. It was fabulous to watch. What were you most excited about when you watched this Lions team perform last year and being a part of what they were trying to build to get to where they got to, Glover?
I mean, it was just exciting to see, them playing well and looking like they belonged. I think the year before they were playing well, but it was kind of like they still had the underdog mentality. Whereas this year it was kind of like they went out and they were like expecting to win and expecting to win every game. And when you go into the games expecting to win as opposed to feeling like you're the underdog and hoping to win, it's two totally different things. And so they still had the chip on their shoulder, though. They still played with that fire like they were the underdog, but they had the mentality that, like, no, we're supposed to go out and win these games. And when I think back to, my time in Detroit, starting to try to build that mentality, when I came there, I was there for the last year of Jim Schwartz era. We went 7-9, I think. And then, the Caldwell era to where we got to where, we were in the playoffs several years. We had winner-take-all games against Green Bay several years. And no, we didn't get over that hump. But I felt like we started to change the culture, the mentality in Detroit. And we had that for a while. And then, that was one of the biggest things when Matt Patricia came in, is he wanted to change the culture, and the people that felt like the culture was in a good place. We just maybe needed to get over the hump. He wanted to do a complete overhaul. And I just took that as to him just not being, aware of what was really going on in Detroit. He just maybe had the national or the media perception that Detroit was this or that. That's neither here nor there. But for Dan Campbell to come back and to bring that culture back, and they actually get back to kind of where it was, and then go to the next level, getting to the NFC Championship game the year before, and then coming back this year with the aspirations of, man, we should get back to the NFC Championship game and take that step and get to the Super Bowl. And so to just see the excitement around Detroit, the fans, they deserve to get all of the winning, teams that they can get, and, to see them traveling, taking pride in doing that. They were always great fans. Mm-hmm. Even when I played, you said you covered the 0-16, Lions. I'm pretty sure they were still there fighting and sure whatever then. So always been great fans. And so for them to get some, national publicity about the fan base, they were showing and talking about the fans, how they were traveling. I was actually at the Houston game on the road, and they took over the stadium. And so it was just a fun season for the team. Fun season for the fans, but I'm sure they would have liked for it to end, a little later than it did. Mm-hmm. And so I think this year right here is one of those important years, because you've went to the NFC Championship one year, then you get put out, first round. I think it was first round this past year, right?
Yeah,
the second round. They had to buy the first week, and then you got put out your first game.
Only one game, tough to watch.
And so now it's kind of like, all right, well, which one is it going to be? Are we going to be a, NFC Championship / Super Bowl contender, or are we going to be a good regular season team and getting bounced in the first or second round? So this is going to be a very important year, and I'm excited. It's going to be different. Excited to see who they draft. I really don't know which direction they're going to go.
I want to talk to you about the draft in a second, but you touched on one thing I really want to hit on hard, and that's this fan base here in Detroit. I've been here since 2000. I've covered the Red Wings, the Tigers, the Pistons, the Lions, colleges, Michigan State for various sports when they were on runs, national championships, Sweet 16s, Final Fours, those kinds of things. Covered the Stanley Cup championship in 02 and 08. Red Wings win. Tigers have gone to 2 World Series since I've been here. The Pistons won the World Championship when I was here. The WNBA, the Shock, when they were here, won a championship while I was here. But even when those teams weren't winning, this fan base shows up. They support their teams. And the Lions struggled for years, and I know that you understand that. But that building, Ford Field, when you guys are balling out, winning ball games, all the venues I talked about and all the situations I just talked about, there's no place louder than that building. There's no more passion than inside that building. And you watching this thing grow, watching the culture change, and watching that mentality go from underdog mentality to killer mentality to expect to win mentality to Super Bowl mentality. What have you seen from this fan base along the way, and the way they support this team, and the way they support this city, what it's like to play for this fan base, and how it gets you juiced every week? Talk about things from that perspective and how that's helped elevate this club and will continue to help elevate this club through this season and beyond.
Well, I think the fan base represents the city, obviously, the type of people that live in the city. And those are the type of people that are supporting the team. And I think the team takes on that mentality because the fans are from the city. The players are not necessarily from the city. These players are from all different places: Texas, Mississippi, Florida, California. They're from all over. They're not from there, but the fans are. And typically the players, the team takes on the mentality of the city. And Detroit is a hard-nosed, blue-collar, hard-working type of city. And when the team takes on that mentality, when the team takes on that, I don't want to always call it underdog, but just a chip on your shoulder. When you take on that mentality, it's a great thing. And I think the fans, for the first time, at least that I've been around and paying attention, the fans started to get the recognition that they deserve for being great fans. When they started traveling, and I think it was when they played the Chiefs in Kansas City and the whole stadium was darn near blue, and it started becoming a thing. And in the playoffs, the first year when they was playing against the Rams and the Bucks, and how loud the stadium was, and the decibel levels and all these things. And I think at that point, the fans start to feel like, okay, the team has a job to do, and we have a job to do as well. And I think they felt really a part of a lot of the success. So as opposed to just being a fan and riding along with the team, I think they felt like they were really helping the team win, showing up on the road, supporting, being loud on the road, showing up at home, being loud at home. I think they really started to take more pride in what it was like to be a fan. I think once you started winning, it was more prideful in buying more gear and chains and it was a thing where you would see, I'm down here in Texas, and I would see a lot of people with Lions gear on, hats and jerseys and things, and it was like you never really saw that before. But when they start winning, you start to see those people. And I think they just took more pride in it. And as players, when you start to feel that support through the thick and the thin, when we win, when we lose, it's just a great thing. And it helps you connect more with the fans, because when you feel like the fans only like you or support you when you're winning, and they wasn't there with you when you were down, when Dan Campbell first got there and they were, losing, winning 3 games and things like that. They were still there. They were there then. And now I think when you come out on the other side is a great feeling. And it's just like I said, a respect thing for the fans. It's a support thing for the fans. And those fans show up, and it makes the players want to show up each and every game to at least give them a great performance.
Yeah, they're not going to take losing. They won't suffer that silently. I remember when Matt Millen was the GM here and they had the Millen Man March. They took to the streets, the fans here in Detroit, to protest what was going on. They wanted a better product, and they said so. And now you've got the draft here last year. 750,000 fans turn up in downtown Detroit to not only support the Lions, but to be a part of the draft. And everybody that I heard from, all the media outlets talked about the fans that came here, loved their time in Detroit, loved the show that Detroit put on. It was safe. It was fun. And people loved the Lions draft and the guys they took. And Terrion Arnold in the first round, they love this kid. I want you to talk a bit about him and how he can develop in year 2 and help this defense along. But this year, the draft will be in Green Bay. And they talk about the Lions needing an edge, and maybe that's a guy that they would go for. But I don't want to talk about specific players or where you think they might go in the draft. But I want to know from your perspective, if you're a GM, putting on the GM's hat, your philosophy behind building a draft, how you build your team, and what you think they might be thinking in that front office as they approach this on Thursday.
I mean, for me as a GM, the way I'm trying to build the draft is I got to go into the draft knowing, okay, do I have a position of dire need? Meaning, am I really hurting at one position where I need a surefire, hopefully, player to come in and be able to play right now? And if I need that, then now it's about finding a player of value at that position based on where I'm drafting. Or do I have assets to be able to maybe move up to get that person because we need this person to help us now? If I'm not in that situation, then I'm more of a kind of like the Patriots approach. I mean, you're trying to build depth throughout the draft because that's what's going to help you win. The more depth that you have, yes, great players are going to be great players, but we all know any given play, those guys could go down. And if you don't have adequate depth behind those guys, it could derail your season. So when you're picking in those 25, 26, those later picks in the first round, I mean, at the end of the day, unless it's somebody that you guarantee, like you know that you need immediately, I mean, I probably would try to flip that pick. I mean, one late first rounder or 2 second rounders, I mean, that's going to be the same, you know what I'm saying, for me. So if I'm trying to build the team, and I mean, you know, I was a 4th rounder, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like us third, 4th, 5th rounders, like we're the glue of the team. You
got to hit on those, don't you?
Right,
you got to hit.
You got to hit on those. So if I can go in the draft, especially as a team, like I say, when you picking 25 or later, you were in the playoffs. You're a good team. You have a solid core of guys already. You need pieces to help you win. So you got to hit on those 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounders, maybe get lucky with a 6th. So if I can stockpile like some 3rd, 4th, and 5th picks and maybe a couple seconds and not have a late round first, if I don't absolutely need the first, then I might do that. But if I absolutely need the first, now I might have to sacrifice a second to move up to get the first that I need. So, you know, that would be my approach. And I've been trying to figure it out. I don't know. I mean, maybe like you said, outside of an edge, I don't know if the Lions have a surefire need that they need.
You can also always look at it like you do, position of, or put yourself in a position to be deep. So maybe you may not need an O-lineman, but if there's a guy there that you can see can play for you for years, you're going to take him, or a DB that you can see can play for years, you're going to take him so you can get deep at those positions. But let me hit you with this now. So the Lions have 7 picks in this draft, and they got a compensatory pick in the 3rd round, not their own, but they've got 7 picks to work with. And you talk about hitting in the middle rounds there. You need guys that can hit like yourself, turn into all pros. That is where your scouting comes in. And these guys have proven they can draft. But if you've got that first, late in the first, they're going to pick 28th. You talk about maybe moving a guy. would you be a guy who would want to move that pick and maybe another pick and trade up, or would you want to move that pick for an established veteran so you know what you're getting because you're in a position to win right now? Let me get a player I know what he looks like, I know I can plug in. Would you try and move for a player you know, or would you try just to move up in the draft and get more youth to build on? What's your thought on that?
I mean, me personally, I'm probably moving up in the draft.
Okay.
Because I just feel like, you know, the good players that can come in and help you right now, like the good ones, I mean, they're probably not going to be available, in my opinion. They're not going to be available. Those guys are not just walking the streets they're like that. They're under contract with somebody. And so me personally, I would just say, hey, man, Aiden Hutchinson is a great, young, hungry talent that's on one side. If I needed to, you know what, finding a late round in, he's probably going to come in and he's going to be hungry. He's going to play like a Aiden. He's going to follow that mentality as opposed to getting an established guy that may not buy into that style. So me personally, I'm probably going to go with the younger guy and draft somebody and turn him loose and hopefully we hit on our guy. That's just my mentality. If I wanted to find somebody, you know, established, then I would have struck in free agency. I wouldn't be waiting to now. Right. I would have struck something in free agency. I would have made a trade or something. He would already be on my. He would be walking in the building today for workouts.
Yeah. Well, speaking about walking around on the streets, it appears that's what Zadarius Smith is doing right now, walking around on the street. Maybe he's waiting till after the draft. Maybe that's a guy that's still out there for them since he hasn't signed yet. What did he show you in his last few weeks here as a Lion when he had that opportunity?
I mean, he came in and provided, you know, some much needed help, some energy. He made some sacks and, you know, he did some good things. I'm not a part of the film room. I don't know the ins and outs. I know as a player, things can always look a certain way on TV, but the guys in the locker room, the guys in the meeting rooms that know the scheme and they know what's really going on. They know how good he's doing in the actual run support, you know, responsibilities, and they know what he's doing in the actual pass game responsibilities. And like I said, sometimes guys may make a play or two here or there, but they may grade out negative based off the game film.
Right.
And you don't really get to see all of that on TV. You really just kind of get to see when they really screw up or when they really make a play. And so I can't say anything other than they decided to not re-sign him. They decided to release him or whatever the situation was. So maybe they felt some type of way or saw something. And I think at this stage of his career, I mean, I don't know if he's dying to be in an off-season program. You know, those guys, I mean, they're not trying to be in an off-season program, but I'm pretty sure he's working out, staying in shape. I mean, he's probably not even dying to go to training camp. You know, he may be one of those guys that unless he gets signed early, he may wait till week 9 or 10 and see who's playing well, who got a shot at a playoff run and pick up on a team. Because at the end of the day, if somebody wanted to give you some big money, they would have gave it to you already. So right now, you're not somebody that they see that they want to give you the big money. You're going to be a guy that, dang it, somebody got hurt. We need a guy. He's on the street. We can get him. He should better give us some production. And so that's kind of probably how they see him. Like I said, if they didn't, they would have locked him up and had him there, and he'd have been in there working out with the team right now. And so, but I thought he came in and provided, you know, some relief coming off the Aiden Hutchinson injury. He kind of bought into the mentality, the bad boys Detroit, kind of brought a different swag to it. And so I thought it was a good pickup. Like I said, didn't work out, obviously, as far as them, you know, winning. But, you know, it helped them get through the season.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens with him as they move along and who they end up drafting and where all that lands. But as we talk about the draft, just take me through what these kids are thinking right now. A couple of days away from maybe hearing their name picked in the first round, a couple of days away from wondering whether they're going to get drafted at all. What's going to happen? Did I slip? What's going on? Are you waiting for that name to be called? What's it like? What's the feel? What's the buzz inside a player, an athlete that's gone to the combine and it's all come to this? His career's over in college and now he's looking forward to the draft.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm sure those guys are nervous right now, but I think this escape is changing a little bit. I think, obviously you're nervous. You want to get drafted. You want to continue playing. You've been working for this. This is a dream to be able to have this moment. But I think and everybody's not equal in a sense, but I think when you start factoring in NIL, like a lot of these kids are not broke coming out of college.
Oh boy, that's a game changer, isn't it?
Right. Like, I mean, I was broke coming out of college. So I needed to make it. I needed to get drafted. Some of these kids are coming out of college with a nice little bankroll already. So if they don't get drafted, they still got a decent head start in life. And I think that
let me ask you this though. Is that going to take some of the hunger away from some of these kids, or how do you see that working?
I mean, possibly, possibly, because like I said, you got some of these kids who are really smart. They're good football players, but they know they probably got a better chance to make a lot of money longer in the engineering world or the business world, but they play football and they were able to capitalize in college and make some money. And now they already, hey man, I'm already in this realm over here. If I get a shot to go play in the NFL, that'll be perfect as well. But the pressure and stress of making it, I'm okay if I don't. But you're still going to have those players who, that's all they've wanted to do and all they've wanted to be. And so, yeah, they're going to be hungry to go and do it because obviously, 4 or 5 mil, and I don't know what these kids are making, but 4 or 5 mil in college is nothing compared to 200-300 mil if you go out and have a extended great career. So, yeah, I think that would still be the goal. But like I say, I don't know if, the nerves, because I feel like the guys that are getting drafted, they probably were getting a decent NIL. Obviously, playing at Alabama and playing at New Mexico is two different things, right? So you're probably not getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars at New Mexico, but you're still getting something. You're not broke. And that gives you a little relief. But I mean, I'm sure the goal for all these players is to get drafted as high as you can. And I think you shouldn't worry about, getting drafted as high as you can. You really should probably hope you go to the right situation.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that affects most careers is just going to the right team. It's not always about, like I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day and I was like, man, if I'm in that 25 and later range, honestly, I might want to wait and go second round.
Because the opportunity is going to be there, you think, right?
Right, but when you go that late first round, now you locked into first round of contracts. So now you get fifth year options. You get all these different things, whereas you go early second round, you ball out 3 years, you up for an extension already. You know what I'm saying?
You're thinking like a businessman. I'm thinking like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, who am I going to be behind? How long do I have to wait to get in the lineup if I go to a place that's got, a stack lineup like the Lions? How do I get in? Yeah.
Man, let me go.
Business.
Man, let me go. Like when you look at some of these teams and you look at, every now and then you get these transcendent players that can come in on these, bad teams and change the culture. But a lot of the players that you see that have the great success, they be the guys that go later in the first round or they go in those third or fourth rounds, but they go to good teams. And they have good players, a good stability with coaches around them, and they get a chance to play in good systems and develop. sometimes these kids get thrown into these bad situations. They're in bad teams, bad organizations. The coaching staff is not on the same page. Next thing you know, they getting fired. Now you got a new coach, and it's like, and it just gets them off to an awful start to their career. They're learning so many things. One coach taught them one thing last year, another coach is teaching them something else this year, and like they're so confused, and it's tough. It's really tough. And then you get some of these guys, you know, I mean, you can name plenty of examples. Even if you go into the first round, I mean, you look at a guy like an Aaron Rodgers. He went late first round, sat behind Brett Favre, and when he got an opportunity, he was with a good team. You look at a Patrick Mahomes, went first round, sat behind Alex Smith, but when he got in, he was on a solid team. You look at guys like Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't go top 10, but when he was on a good team. You can look at guys like Russell Wilson. He'd go all the way in the third round, but he was on a good team. You look at like a lot of the guys, when you're on a good team, it's going to help you. And then you look at some of these guys that go first round, they go high, they go early, but they're on bad teams and bad cities and and they just don't have the same impact in it. And I think it hurts their career. And so, like I say, if I'm one of those guys, you know, if you're going 25th or later, obviously you're going to a playoff team. But at that point in time, it's like now you're going to be locked into that first round contract. And that may be what you want, to be a first rounder and be able to always say you was a first rounder. But at the end of the day, hey, man, the goal is to make as much money as you can, as quick as you can, win as much as you can, and get out of there. That's the goal.
I like the businessman in you, dude. I like the businessman in you. Let me ask you one thing, too. We talked a bit about Terrion Arnold last year, and that's a position you can certainly respect, and you know what it takes to play that position. What's the next step for him this year? Because obviously they're going to look for him to take that next step. What is that in your mind?
I think Terrion had a solid rookie year. You know, I mean, I think you could see the progression early in the season. You know, I thought he played well, had a lot of penalties, but I think that's to be expected coming from a rookie. As the season went on, I think we could clearly see the difference in the Lions secondary when he was healthy and playing and when he was injured and not playing. And so for him, it's just going to be continually getting better in the work and understanding the game, understanding the different receivers that you're covering, understanding the differences in the schemes and how they're trying to attack you, and just continue to be consistent in how you play the game so that now some of those ticky-tack calls that were going against you, they don't go against you anymore, but you didn't change your game style. I think if you remember back when they had the Legion of Boom, people used to feel like they got away with a lot of physical play at the corner position, passes, interferences, things like that. But that was just how they played. And the officials are not going to call a penalty every single time. They're going to allow you to play because that's your style. And so I think if he's going to be a physical guy, you just got to be a physical guy. And I think if you look at throughout the course of the season, I thought his penalties went down. So you learn how to play within your style of play. And I think if he do that and embrace, you know, his skill set and what he's good and comfortable doing, I think he can be a really good player. You know, he works hard from what I see. He wants to be the guy from what I can see, and all those things are good. And like I said, when you look at the core, those young guys in Detroit, Aiden Hutchinson wants to be there, wants to be the guy. Terrion Arnold, you look at Amon and Jameer, like those guys want to be there and they want to be the guy. And so that energy, that effort, that hunger, it bleeds over to a lot of the other guys. And that's how you create the culture of guys that want to be here, want to play hard, want to be out there every play, want to practice every day, want to go at each other. And that's how you build winning, successful organizations.
I want to get one more thought out of you and then we'll wrap this thing up. Some guys will hear their name called in the first round. Some guys will wait 3 days and not hear their name called at all. I've seen the hunger in undrafted players and the impact that they can have on a locker room and on the field. What are your thoughts on guys that are undrafted and what the Lions may be looking for as far as hungry guys that have that killer instinct that's going to help elevate this team and be ready when the number's called?
Man, those undrafted guys are special guys, man. And you know, when you have an undrafted guy, you're generally getting one or two types of people. You know, there's guys in the draft that expect to hear their name called, maybe late rounds, but they're expecting to hear their name called, and their name does not get called. And they go one or two ways. They either complain about it and pout, sorrow because they didn't get drafted, feel bad and all this stuff. Or you have the ones that put their head down and go to work, and they put this chip on their shoulder because now they have almost a personal vendetta against every team in the league because they didn't draft them. And they go out and they're hungry. And then you have some of those guys who they didn't expect to get their name called. It was a long shot for them to get drafted, and then they didn't get drafted. And now they're just waiting for that call to get a shot because they know that the road that they're going to be on is going to be tough, but they're up for the challenge. And so when those guys come in, man, you can tell real quick the ones who are going to have a chance, because some guys, they don't take advantage of every moment. They'll sit on the sideline. They don't show a hunger in the meetings. They don't show hunger at practice. They're not jumping in, trying to just get reps. You can see it in their personality. And then some of those guys, man, they take advantage of every moment. They'll have the toughest practices, man. They might do 15 reps in a row. Players throwing at them, coaches throwing, get in there, take a rep. And they just do it over and over and over. They compete, they lose, they win, but they fight. They got a energy, a swagger. They do special teams. They don't care. They just want to show that they can be a part of this team and that they deserve to be on this team. Everybody wants to make the 53, but they just showing, I want to be a part of this team. Even if it's practice squad, I want it bad enough, and I'm willing to work harder than anybody else here. And when you around those guys, man, their attitude is different. Their swagger is different. Just getting to talk to those guys, seeing how they came up, the background is tough, man. And a lot of times, man, like I say, those guys are really good guys, man. And they just work and work and work. And so when they do get a chance to make the team, that's why it's always a huge celebration when undrafted guys make the team, because we all know the hard road that they had to go on just to get this opportunity. And those guys don't take that for granted, man. And so it's always a great thing, man, to see those guys, to be around those guys. And if you really want a dog, those undrafted guys, if you can find one or two, they're some real dogs.
I love them. I love those guys. I always love those guys. Well, whether it's a guy taken in rounds 1 through 7 or the Lions signed somebody undrafted, we'll be here to talk about it on the Bleav in Lions podcast. And I am so looking forward to doing this with you, Glover. I can't even tell you, man. Thank you very much for today. Looking forward to the future.
Man, appreciate you, man. Thank you. Let's do it, man. It's a great time of year. NFL draft, NBA playoffs, Pistons. I'm a LeBron fan, so great time of year, man. So let's have some fun, man.
That's right. April in the D. Here we go.